Before I start this video, if you guys didn't already know, I'm creating my very own Roblox game called Anime Evolution X. It's releasing very soon, and I'm going to be showing you guys a whole bunch of sneaks right here. It's going to be a high quality anime training simulator, and the Discord is open right now. So make sure you guys join because we will be picking testers very soon. Now let's get right into the video. Anime Vanguards update 6.5 tier list. Let's get right into this video. It's your boy LorTomo. Make sure to leave a like down below and subscribe if you're new. As usual, we're gonna just start with the update 6.5 characters, and we're gonna rank them by their strength and where they rank in the tier list. First things first, we're gonna start with Arc. Arc, I think, in my opinion, is Z+. Arc is probably a must-have unit for new players in the game. Must-have. Arc's passive, True Ancestry. He has Bloodthirst Conqueror. On bleeding, enemy or takedown gains 1 Bloodthirst stack. On hit, gains 1 Bloodthirst stack. And on hit, applies bleed for 30% of his damage for 6 seconds. So he gets Bloodthirster stacks and he applies bleed to enemies, right? Then he can switch his element. He can transform his element with his Bloodthirst stacks that he gains from hitting enemies or killing enemies. Then he has type Earth Form. He gets 100% damage, 20% range, and then spawns all previously killed enemies as summons, like Sun Jin Woo, with 30% of his damage as health, right? And then he can use the Marble Phantasm ability to select one of the below elements. So then he can use his ability to then further switch his element again. Then when he switches his element to water, he gains the water element, and on hit, all of his attacks slow the enemies for 5 seconds. Then he can switch to nature, and then all of his attacks repulse the enemies like Saber does. And then he can switch to the fire element, and then he can burn. So not only can this guy have CC to slow, he can repulse, he can burn, and like he can be a damage dealer as well, and he bleeds. So he's probably a must-have unit for new players in the game. Next up, we have Rudeus. Rudeus, I would say, let's look at his passive first before we place him anywhere, right? He has a ranked staff. He has a mana meter that regenerates 1% every second, and then attacks restore 5% of missing mana. This unit can input a number amount 1 through 100 and use that much mana to buff this unit's damage by 4 times the mana used for any of his attacks. Then he has Family Man, dodges all attacks when mana falls below 10%, buff all allies in range by 15%, damage by 10%, and range by 10%, or range by 10% by 30 seconds. When this unit consumes mana, he buffs himself by 40% for 1 attack, right? So Rudeus is more of a support unit than anything. So in terms of support, I would put him in Z. I would have a support tier in here, but if you guys are watching this video, you know that he is a support unit. He is a support unit. So matter of fact, just so that people don't get confused, I'm gonna make a support tier right here. Support. Let's go ahead and change the color, because I already hear the comments, how is Rudeus Z? No, bro, he's support. He's support. He's support. Okay? Support. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, next up we have Merlin. Merlin is a pretty good unit. I like her a lot. She has Perfect Cube as her first passive. Blocks 3 single status effects from being applied to this unit or any unit in range 40%. 40% of this unit's range, so anybody in 40% of her range gets cleansed immediately, blocks all status effects, right? Or blocks 3 single status effects that target them. Then the cube, when the cube is destroyed, cube regenerates itself or charges after 40 seconds of inactivity, right? Then she has Absolute Negation. Inflict all enemies on the map with Nullify for 40 seconds, PvP only, so this part of the passive, that sentence is only applied in PvP. Remove all current buffs from every opposing unit and prevents buffs from being applied for 40 seconds, right? and then once absolute negation is activated, gains 40% damage and 10% range. So in my opinion, she's kind of like a SZ tier character in regular game, but she's more of a PvP unit, right? She's definitely more of a PvP support unit to help you with utility, to help you buff your characters, to help you cleanse the opposing enemies' status effects in PvP, right? So I would put her in support. I think she's pretty good, like just really good in terms of PvP, and I love that they're making characters tailored to that mode. It really helps the game a lot. Next, we have one of my favorite units this update, Rimuru. Rimuru is definitely Z+. Rimuru acts just like Ragna in a way, and I'll explain how, right? So Rimuru's first passive is Evolving Slime. Every upgrade this unit gains, reduce the cost of the next upgrade of other player-owned placements of this unit by 3%. So if you place one down, first of all, Rimuru's 4 placement, Monarch is terrible on Rimuru. If you place down Rimuru and you max Rimuru out, the next placement of Rimuru costs 3% less gold to be able to max out, right? And then you max that one out, the next one will cost less, and you max that one out, the next one will cost even less, right? Then we have Great Sage. Gains active Great Sage. Once Great Sage has identified an enemy, this unit deals 40% more damage to that enemy, right? So an enemy can only be identified once. So what you can do is you can activate Great Sage, click on any enemy on the map, it'll pop up this screen and it shows you all of the multipliers that they have, whether they have damage reduction, shield, whether they can run fast. It shows you all of the information about that enemy, and then once you do that, Rimuru then does 40% more damage to that identified enemy, which is really good. Then you have self-replication. For every currently placed copy of this unit that's placed, this unit gains plus 30% damage. Thanks for the bits, I guess. Twitch just sent me a notification, so stupid. I have to turn that off. Any buff applied to this unit is shared amongst all the placements. Does not count for any stage buffs such as weather or any full AoE buffs like Haruka Rin. So basically what this means is when you place Rimuru down, this unit gains 30% for every single currently placed Rimuru that's down. And then any buff that is applied to any of the Rimurus, all of the Rimurus get it, right? So it's really good. So if you place down a Subaru and you're giving one of the Rimurus 20% damage, all of the Rimurus will have that 20% damage. So that's pretty good. Next up, we have Hibana. Hibana is also another support unit, right? Hibana they dropped a lot of support units this update. I kind of like it, to be honest. When you place down Hibana, she places down a flaming tree behind her, right? And that tree has 20% of her range. Any burn applied in the range of the Sakura tree is also reapplied. Now, this goes hand in hand with her second passive, Scorched. All of her attacks apply burn for 30% of her damage over 8 seconds. When burning enemies enter the Sakura tree's range, they are applied with Scorch for 60 seconds. All scorched enemies take 20% more damage from fire allies. So every single unit that is fire, if the Sakura tree scorches that unit, they take 20% more damage. This is literally wounded, but for burn units. And she's probably going to be around for a long time just based on how her passive works. Really good burn support unit. Probably a must-have if you have Kaguya or Yamamoto or any of those burn units, right? Next up, we have the GOAT, the undisputed queen of Anime Vanguards, the one and only, her, the greatest Naruto character to ever grace the realm of Anime Vanguards, D Vanguard, D unit, must have. Kaguya. She's number one, baby. She's number one, baby. She's number one. The motherfucking goal! She's number one. Her first passive, Master of Dimensions. When this unit activates a new dimension, increases damage by 20% and range by 10%, buff resets when the domain repeats the cycle. Okay? Okay, cool, right? Cool. She has got a Shinobi. If any ally in range has a meter, this unit's attacks restore that meter by 2%. By 2%! Greatness. It's greatness. It's greatness. This doesn't apply to swap gauge though. They didn't want to make her too broken. On attack, teleports to the nearest applicable location on the attack. This is disabled when a dimension is active. When a dimension is activated, attack the first enemy and move to them regardless on their spots on the map. Everywhere. It's everywhere. That's the Sharingan. The Byakugan and the Sharingan. Then she has elemental affinity. This unit is counted as each element currently on the team. If when this unit swaps to a dimension and it matches an element already applied to this unit, then she gets 50% damage for the duration of the whole domain. The whole domain. And y'all thought that was it? No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Nah, that's not it at all. That's not it at all. She has 3 different domains, right? Her first domain is fire. This unit gains the fire element for the duration of the domain. On start, burn all enemies on the map for 35% of this unit's damage. And trust me guys, she does a lot of damage. For 8 seconds, fire element allies deal 30% more damage in this dimension. If the previous dimension was ice, slows all enemies on the map by 50% for 4 seconds. If the previous dimension was sand, increase the duration of stuns by the next dimension by 100%. Okay, cool, right? Then she has the ice dimension. This unit gains the water element for the duration of the dimension. On start, freeze all enemies on the map for 2 seconds. Crazy. Water element allies deal 30% more damage in this dimension. If the previous dimension was fire, apply Frostburn to all enemies on startup for 50% of this unit's damage for 10 seconds. If the previous dimension was the sand dimension, increase the buff of the next dimension by 50%. So that means if the previous dimension was sand and you switch to ice and then you go to fire, all of your fire buffs increase by 50%. Ridiculous. Then if you go to sand, this unit gains the blast element for the duration of the dimension. On start, repulse all enemies on the map so they start walking backwards. Blast allies deal 30% more damage in this dimension. If the previous dimension was the ice dimension, buff all allies on the map for 30% damage during the duration of the dimension. So she's a support unit as well. If the previous dimension was the fire dimension, deal damage to all enemies on the map equal to 50% of this unit's damage. Wow. Just that's all I can say. Just the GOAT. And then finally we have Invincible and Conqueror. Invincible and Conquest or whatever. Unit is Z plus, full AoE. I really don't have time to pull up the passive. Hopefully I can get it up on the screen somewhere here, but if not, then it is what it is. Yeah, they're pretty good. They cause collateral damage. They fight. They just fight each other, cause collateral damage to each other, and just go crazy. They go crazy and they do a lot of damage. So yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like down below. Comment what you think about this tier list. What would you change? What would you move up? And subscribe. It's your boy LorTomo. Peace.
Wait.